sure we clarify that with people. It has nothing to do whether or not it's effective. We know it's highly effective. Highly effective.
What's up, guys?
That was awesome.
Intense. I like that music, though.
That was a nice compilation. How 22 Guru on YouTube says correctly that's In the Hall of the Mountain King was the music there. But
Oh, okay. That was, yeah, I liked it.
yeah, that was a great compilation. Man, COVID, huh? How about it?
How about it?
I saw the best meme today. It was, you know, a guy with a mask on and holding like a, you know, like a ball and chain type thing, but it was literally like this huge. And on the ball was written like, you know, lockdowns, mandates, like all these things. And basically how they're just basically can't let go of it. Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
like its own religion. It's
Yep.
a cult. Yeah. Robin Losi on YouTube says great intro. We didn't make that. I found that on Twitter somewhere, but if you go to the Rescue Michigan Twitter feed, you'll see someone had posted that, so you can find it there. I don't think that even says who made that, but whoever did, great job. That was a fantastic compilation.
I like
anyway,
how it was like declining percentages.
Yeah, one by one.
Booster back up to the top. One more shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. So how's everyone doing, huh? It's been a pretty long week.
This was my worst week in politics. Worst week, hands down, ever. Yeah.
Oh man. And I assume that's got something to do with your conventions you had this past week, as did our county. Some people had theirs before last week's show, because I remember people were talking about the Lapeer convention and things like that. But yeah, we just had ours this week, and we should definitely talk about that. Amber, I know you said you couldn't stay all night tonight with us, so maybe we should just get right into it. I was going to talk about some other stuff tonight. We'll talk about Twitter and Kanye. And we had a great couple of events it was actually 3 events, but I could only do 2 of them with Scott Ritter. And I want to talk about that too, but in the interest of time. Yeah. So tell us about the Oakland County Convention. Then we'll tell you about the Washtenaw County Conventions.
Did you guys elevate any delegates in Novi? I need to know, because that's in our congressional district.
We did, and I can get those to you. It was fine. It went really, really well. I guess what I was most disappointed in is the chair race. You know, people entering the day before convention, just backstabbing, like, it was just insane. One of the vice chairs entered in on Tuesday against Terry Nelamathu, who's been running with Vance Patrick for about 5 months, and they were best friends. And Lori just announced she's running against her best friend. It was insane. And we thought, like, oh, you know, that grassroots organization in Northern Oakland County, we really supported. I really supported as executive director. I'll support them no matter what happens, because I think it's important to support all organizations in the county. But they just kind of came out of left field and threw in their hat. And I'm not worried about the competition at all, because I think that healthy competition is important. But we have delegates harassing other delegates over this race, and the level of decorum is completely out the window. So I think that we have a huge problem right now with delegates and people just being respectful and thinking that they can scream and enforce upon their opinions upon you and call you names because you don't fit into their, I guess, box. And it's getting to the point where we need to really have some rules and boundaries.
Yeah, we had a pretty contentious convention in our county, although, I mean, I was happy with the results. I chaired the convention. I was the top vote getter, and the slate that I was on won all the seats. Ooh. So can't get much better than that. But it was pretty. But it was nasty. I mean, there was.
I didn't think it was so bad. I went as a guest because.
It wasn't too bad at the convention. There were some things that were happening behind the scenes that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
We had a guy who didn't go to convention because he was having chemotherapy, and he calls me and he's like, "What the bleep is going on? I'm seeing this thread of everybody just hurling accusations left and right, and I don't know what to think and who's right and who's wrong." And yeah, it was, and it got pretty nasty. I mean, so the backstory to it was, I mean, there was what ended up becoming two factions that were competing for our executive committee. And there was the slate that I was on, which was me and some of our hardest working people, and then a mix of different people, some of whom were new and some of whom have been around for a long time and from different places and skill sets and all that. And people spent, I mean, weeks and weeks and days, you know, recruiting delegates and vetting them and talking to them and deciding who they want to have on the slate and all the, I mean, we didn't actually run as a slate, by the way, but it was like, you know, choose your 20 and here's our 20, and ended up being 20 on the other side. And some of the people on the other side aren't people that I especially dislike, but their leadership was going to be people that were the same people giving us problems for the last 2 years. And so, you know, it is what it is. But then there got to be some nasty back and forth emails in the run up to the convention. And I mean, the thing that upsets me the most is that you've got people who for the last 2 years have been breaking all the rules, lying about other people, spreading dishonest information, not really doing anything, and doing things that are not really the job of the party to do. Like the job of the party is to support candidates and raise money and build an organization. You know, if you want to have an election integrity organization, come to Rescue Michigan, start your own election integrity group. But the GOP has a certain job to do, and that's to support the Republican Party. And if you don't want to do that, then that's fine, but then don't be there, you know? But anyway, so that was part of the problem we had, was not that we had disagreements with every single person that was on the other slate, but we're like, these are the 20 people that we know are either going to be leaders or people that will execute the program that we need effectively. And the others did not take that very well. And they started saying, you know, well, we're the America First slate, we're the Christian slate, we're the purists, you know, and and on and on.
The purists. They did not say purists.
No, they didn't actually say that. But that's the subtle subtext of all this stuff.
It is.
And you know, we talked about this in previous shows too, with JD Glazer going from the county to county. He's holding these precinct delegate trainings, and the subtext in all of his statements are, we got to overthrow the GOP. And you know, in 83 counties, there's 83 different dynamics in play. You know, you may have a situation where your county executive committee is totally corrupt. I've seen those. I'm not going to speak to it for this year because this goes back to a long time ago. But I remember like 7-8 years ago, the Ottawa County GOP was very corrupt, and even to the point of the secretary was changing the results of the convention after the fact. I mean, really bad stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, in a situation like that, you got to do something about that. But in other counties, you know, if they're not meddling in the races, who do you really want running your county? Probably someone that knows how to raise money, for one thing. Probably someone that, you know, is going to be able to put in the work. And a lot of what some people have been doing in these last couple of years hasn't been that. It's been directing hatred towards Ron Weiser for things he had no control over, you know, like recruiting candidates and stuff like that, which he did nothing about. And they were engendering this attitude that we've got to overthrow the party, and everyone who's not with us is against us. And, you know, it's all very black and white, and, you know, very much a good versus evil mentality. I think another big source of a lot of this too was the DePerno campaign when he ran for attorney general. If you're not with us, you're a rhino. You know, that was what they were literally telling everybody at the conventions. Ask everybody at your county convention, are they supporting Matt DePerno? If not, they're a rhino. You know, we talked about this before the April convention. And, you know, that's just not a valid opinion. You know, people are allowed to support who they want, and it doesn't automatically make them a rhino if they don't think he was the best candidate for attorney general. You know, period.
It's definitely working off emotions. And that's what I told some people. I said, some of these individuals, it's whoever gets in their ear last and invokes those feelings, and that's where they'll go. It will really quick. Hi Michelle, hi Jamie, hi Barry. But yeah, it's the feelings. You got to take feelings out of it and think logically, especially in Oakland. Oakland's such a unique bag. I had some Macomb people at the convention, and I was kind of in the back. I kind of run all over the place during convention time, but they just said, you know, this is a whole different group of people because we're huge. We're like 1,200 delegates. But I like to think for the most part, we all have the same goals. And Vance and Terry have just been working towards this goal and in the public and in the groups and working at OCRP closely with me, not because of me, but because that's what their passion was to help the county party. Don't overthrow an organization that's been in existence for, since the 50s. That's just silly. You get in and you fix it, but don't overthrow it, or work with the people. And then when you realize you can't work with them, then maybe take something into your own hands. But I feel like people are working towards a problem that doesn't exist. Like Barry said, people are making a problem that doesn't exist. And I completely agree with that statement. I feel there's a lot of conversations to be had. We all feel the same way. And I guess I'm taking it super personally because I've been working there for a year now, and I shouldn't take it so personal, but man, it's hard not to.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things that just, the experience has just numbed me to having emotions about this kind of stuff the way I used to have. Because it used to be, every time there was there's an attack, I want to come back swinging, and at this point I'm just like, blah, whatever. I see some people talking about Ottawa County's convention. Folks, if you want to talk more in the chat about what happened in Ottawa County, let me know. Happy to.
Some other ones.
Hear about what's
Lapeer
happening.
had theirs. Lapeer had theirs on November 10th, they said.
Yeah, I think we talked about Lapeer last week, though, because theirs was before a week ago. I'm pretty sure. I remember we talked about that last
Tomorrow
week.
is Monroe County.
Okay, interesting.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. But yeah,
to Barry's point really fast, Barry says, but competition and choice are important too. I totally agree. But when the choices are so similar, and that's what's so disappointing, it's, they're so similar, except for Phil and Lori have, I don't know. I don't know. The choices are the same, though. It's not like we have one establishment choice against another, a grassroots choice. They're both grassroots. It's whether one person's been around, has the ability to raise the money, and the other one is a single issue focused person, I think is really what I see mostly from the race in Oakland County right now for chair. And
so how many people are on your executive committee in Oakland?
We have 46 people that are statutory and 46 that were elected at convention.
Wow, that's a huge group.
Your committee is 46 people?
No, our committee is
92 people.
92 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second? So statutory is like people who ran for office or whatever. Okay. So how do you calculate that for people who, like Jason Rines, for example? Yeah. Jason, is he part of Oakland? Because the 13th, but he won his primary.
Yes.
And so the 13th.
Is that a congressional district?
No, it's a state senate.
State senate. So it's both in Oakland and Wayne.
Yes.
So doesn't he count as to be on your county committee?
They do in ours.
When they are like a partial?
I don't know that answer. I know if they win, they are.
Ours do. If they win the nomination, they automatically are. So we have some statutory spots for people that don't actually live in Washtenaw County. They'll probably not show up to the county executive committee meetings because they're not in Washtenaw County, but we still get an additional elected spot for theirs as well. That's how ours is.
See, I don't know if Jason Rines is on. I don't think I saw him on the list. And that is I know if they win, like for instance, Ann Boleyn's in Livingston, but she actually holds office. So she does have a spot on our executive committee. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like all of our county commission seats that won their primary has a spot on the committee. But I don't know if they don't win in state senate or house rep.
Yeah, I need to know that.
That's true.
See, this is the kind of thing that scares me. Jay says 75% of the new executive committee are people that just became precinct delegates for the first time in August 2022. These people are going to have no idea how to build an organization. And I don't think they're even going to have any interest in doing it, to tell you the truth. I mean, we'll see.
Well, maybe they're all organizational behavior experts.
Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
You don't know.
That is what's really scary is these people want to, and that's that group that's wanting to take over the county party right now that's not Vance and Terry, but they haven't been around. They've been around maybe 6 months. They ran a sub-faction of, I'm going to say OCRP because I supplied them with most of their literature and stuff and signs. and they are like, oh, we can take this model and take over the county party now. And that's not true. There's so much money to be made. There's candidates recruitments that need to be made. We have to go out into the townships now. We have to get a database. We have to have restored faith in the county party. We have to restore faith in Republicans. There's so much more to be done besides election integrity and rallies. And man, there's so much work cut out for us in Oakland County, that to see this division right now by such new people. It's by new people. And I understand. I was new and I was pissed off, and I got involved in the 11th, and then I started raising money. And I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. And then I just kind of was like, I want to take over the county. And I was told it's pointless. It's useless. Just leave it alone. And I go, no, I don't accept that. And so I just kind of hung out at the county office until I was like, they're like, what are you doing here? I go, nah, I'm just trying to help. And from there, the rest was history. I became executive director when Chase left, and just been working towards the next administration. And here it is coming up, and I don't know who it's going to be. So that's
Sarah says, just because someone's new doesn't mean they don't know. Spoken like someone who's new. I mean, sorry. I don't mean to put it that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people are really talented and will hit the ground running. You know, Amber's only been involved for a few years.
Yeah, I've only been
learns
involved
fast. But no, I mean, there's a lot of institutional memory that's probably getting lost here. I mean, when we first took over, when the grassroots took over the Washtenaw County GOP a few years ago, that's when the fundraisers stopped happening. That's when there was no Lincoln Day dinner anymore. You know, that's when we started losing county commission seats. And, you know, there is a certain element of core competency that's important. And, you know, like I said, I hope you guys, you know, really appreciate the enormity of the challenge when you take over your county GOP, that you've got to build something and build it bigger than it was. It's not just like, and I saw she posted earlier, we took over the America First Grassroots America, the Grassroots America First people took over. You know, first of all, the other people weren't not America First anyway. I mean, even in my county, the oldest guard people became Trumpsters. They came around to Trump after he won the nomination, and some of them were like Romneyites back in 2008. You know, people change, and a lot of people appreciated Trump because for a time there was a lot of winning going on with Trump. Apparently, a lot less these days.
We're gonna get so sick of winning. Remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got so sick of something.
Oh, stop. Barry Doherty, I'm not certain what Vance's experience as a delegate or EC is. He has been extremely active in knocking doors for pretty much any candidate that asked him, but he's been to events. I'm not sure if you haven't been around the county party, you haven't seen him. And if you have been around the county party,
events. And he ran for Congress.
And he ran for Congress, and he ran for city council in Southfield, and then he helped try to get signatures for Wendy Webster Jackson in Southfield. He's a different part of the county, which has been extremely disenfranchised. But yeah, he's around, and he helps me. So I mean, the executive committee of Oakland County Republican Party didn't meet this year. They didn't meet at all. And the people that I guess didn't hold the county party responsible, and I would be extremely honest, I told them I don't want any of the old people from the executive committee on the new executive committee, because there needs to be accountability had. And the last executive committee didn't necessarily do that. And Phil and Vance were both on the last executive committee. So absolutely. And Barry says the EC, that meeting has been a real issue, and that's got to change. It's going to become under another administration, at least that I know of. It's going to be bi-monthly. I'm going to be probably the one, hopefully, if I'm still executive director, to schedule the meetings. It's going to be in a bigger venue. We're going to open it up to the precinct delegates and the public at large, because there's no reason that we should have lack of transparency. Everybody should be at the meetings. Everybody should be involved. I know up in the comments really fast.
Hold on. I want to address Sarah's comments too.
Yeah. And then there's Cindy Ramirez.
Hold on, let me scroll up to it.
Yeah, she said that, I was replaced and was new to the party. I was not part of everything you all are accusing people of. I worked my butt off for the election this year, and that's awesome, Cindy. Please don't go away. We're not saying new people are bad by any means. We're saying new people, there's experiences that you need to experience before taking over a county party that you're not going to experience until it hits you. And it's infighting and so it's a host of things, losing money, losing candidates, realizing what you need to win in an election. There's a lot of educational knowledge that needs to be had. So
yeah, let me. So I want to get to this comment from Sarah. Sounds like this isn't the right place for me. ... Sounds like you want rhinos. ... Well, here's the thing, Sarah. You might not know this about me. I have a whole list of rhinos whose scalps I have been privileged to take out over the years. And that's everybody from Carl Yeiter in Midland to Nancy Cassis in Novi to
Nancy Cassis.
Who else? Let me think. There were several.
Peter Meyer.
Who was the one that Jeff Noble ran against? Because that was a general election, so I wasn't involved in the primary for that one. Joe Kent, not the great Joe Kent from Washington State, but a different guy running against John Riley. Sarah, I've been privileged to work exclusively for hardcore conservatives that I genuinely like. And I will always get involved in defeating the rhinos in the primaries. Yeah, that's right. Come to think of it, as Patty mentioned, Peter Meyer. Yeah, we got involved beating up on rhinos all over Michigan in the primary and even took out a few. People like Christy Barnes against Gina Johnson. We are proud to have gotten and at least helped with getting a lot of the most hardcore conservatives elected to the state legislature in this past year. You may have even seen my email today, Sarah, where I laid into the Republican majority on their very last month in office, passing corporate welfare subsidy deals to build subsidized housing, or at least low-income housing for Democrats, principally in conservative areas. That's not what this issue is, however, because you also need to have people that don't lose to Democrats all the time. And the party is not the same thing as a politician, a lawmaker, someone who runs for office. When you run for office and you are actually in power and you're breaking your constitutional oath, and you are the one who is causing us to have rhinos in positions where we should have serious conservatives, like in conservative districts, that's great. But when you're in, say, Washtenaw County, where we have no Republican representation whatsoever, and we need people to defeat the Democrats, what you really want is someone that knows how to do it and is just only going to be even-handed and fair. There was this big controversy in Macomb County last year, where Mark Fortin said, "How dare Ron Weiser recruit someone to run in the state House seat," which is, first of all, not even true to begin with. It wasn't Ron Weiser at all. It was the HRCC, but you didn't know the difference, I guess, between the HRCC and the state party. But nonetheless, he said, "How dare Ron Weiser recruit so-and-so to run for this House seat? I recruited this other person to run for this House seat." Well, then how do you have any more moral authority than the other guy does? The guy he recruited got thrown off the ballot. So, whoops. No, we need people that make the GOP a big tent and treat everybody with decency and respect and know how to build an organization. And that does take money, by the way. And especially in the race for state chair. I saw a comment above. We should talk about the state chair race.
I liked Kevin Smith's comment really fast. He goes, "It is going to take time for the newer people to develop relationships and connections and trust." That's all it's about. People can be like, "Oh, I just see so-and-so showing up at these events and taking pictures." No, you're building relationships. Those relationships are so important. And I hope to have my relationships with the precinct delegates strengthened. The question was, how do I defeat the problem of the grassroots not feeling a part of the organization? Well, come around to the organization. I reach out to everybody, and I hope everybody's a part of this, new administration, and we can all make a difference because we need everybody. But yeah, it's about taking relationships, and those are the most important aspect of, I think, my job, and the chair of the county party's job is to keep those relationships and build more and bring more.
Yeah. By the way, I should read. I forgot to watch the Rumble chat, so let me read some from Rumble. Dan125947 says, "My county, Saginaw, was crazy. It was last Sunday. We elevated 30 people. A nasty email chain went on for 2 weeks. That was pretty awful. Yeah, we just got the start of that in my county, but hopefully it'll blow over now that the election is over. KLSC 85 says Allegan County Convention went just fine. That was elevated to be precinct delegate. Mike Vandenberg did a good job running the show. Did a very good job running the show. Dan from Saginaw also said, as soon as we voted for a temporary chair and the current members saw how badly they were outnumbered, they all walked out of the building. I wasn't happy either, but didn't set a great example. Yeah, that doesn't set a good example, although I'm not surprised. So Saginaw County is the home of Deb L., who's like been the ringleader of all of these.
All of it.
All of this stuff.
Little do they know, though, it's because of her relationship with Michonne that this all stemmed from, because she used to be best friends with Michonne, and then there was a grudge that was to be had, and she is burning the whole GOP down because of that relationship. So if people knew the backstory of stuff.
Yeah, there's all these personal conflicts. I wonder how it's going to play
Amber,
out between...
I promise, Amber, I'll never burn the GOP down if we get in a fight.
I promise Patty will never burn the GOP down. James Hooper will burn me down before I even set foot in Wayne, so you're safe.
You stay on the north side of 8 Mile.
Yeah, Dan says, I'm a new delegate, but understand that a lot of old guard have been fighting for your rights before you cared to get involved. Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, we've had a few revolutions in the GOP lately, and it's interesting to see these come-latelies who have no idea what happened when the Tea Party came through in 2020, and a lot of personalities changed right then and there, too. But yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with...
I mean, you got to have a good mix, right? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong. You have new delegates, they have fresh eyes, right? They're going to see different things. You need people who've been on the committee before. You need people who can fundraise, and not everybody has that skill, right? Like, or wants to. So you need like Adam said, what skill set are people bringing? And you want to bring a good team together, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in our county, we looked at it and we're like, okay, we need to have a technology team.
Yep.
We need to have a fundraising team. We need to have, a team that explicitly follows the 2 House seats that we know we need to target the next 2 years. These are the priorities that have to be taken seriously. And that's just one example of institutional knowledge. Mm-hmm. A year and a half ago, I said to people, okay, here's the election results in 2020, according to the new district boundaries. Here's the 2 seats we have to target. This one county commission seat, this one state house seat. Well, what happened? People are like, no, I want to win this seat. We can totally win this seat. It was 75 Democrat, 25 Republican last year, but we got a great guy running. He'll flip the seat. Guess what happened? 75% Democrat, 25% Republican again. Oh, whoops, we didn't target the right seats. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we lost the one seat that was 50-50 in 2020 because people didn't target it. Things like that.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're thinking too. It's like, okay, who's got this fundraising skill? Who's the people? Who delegates, organization, work plan, whatever. Data. Who's going to be the data person? You have to. You got to build a team.
Yeah. As Michelle says, the whole business is calling people you've never met a rhino. Yeah, they're so quick to accuse, and I can't wait to see how it all works out in the next convention cycle with JD Glazer versus Matt DePerno, because I wonder if their factions aren't going to just murder each other before the convention starts.
Well, then there's the Karamo. So Karamo threw in there too, and I really don't think that Karamo holds anything on JD Glazer. I think that they're the same people. So I don't understand what JD's doing, because the Karamo people are the JD people. Period.
Yeah. So let's talk about the state convention race, because we've got so Matt DePerno and Christina Karamo are both running, who have virtually an identical set of supporters. I wonder who's going to go with whom on that one.
They've changed now. DePerno's the problem, and Karamo's the hero to most of these. Most of my people.
Is that the case?
Because Christina never stopped talking about election integrity, I believe, and Matt pivoted for the general. Yeah. Yep.
It's funny because on one hand, I think that's a better decision for DePerno than for Karamo, because that's the strategy to win a general election.
You have to.
But nonetheless,
Michelle.
But on the other hand, Christina Karamo never told precinct delegates to call me a rhino. So
they do hate DePerno now.
Michelle says they hate DePerno now.
They do, and it's so funny.
It's funny. It's amazing how disloyal they all are to their own people too.
That's
It's hilarious.
exactly what it is. They find something and they flip it really quick. They're like, oh, don't like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so there's DePerno, there's Caramo, there's JD Glazer, and there's Billy Putman.
Putnam.
No, it's not. That's why I say it that way. It's Putman. It's M-A-N.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm dyslexic. I've been saying it wrong.
Yeah. I don't know if he's announced the co-chair yet or if he's still even serious, but he's, I guess, supposedly running. Then on the Blue Blood side, we've got Pete Hoekstra and Lena Epstein are both running. Is that correct? Oh, Jay Michaud says, wait, JD Glazer is running for state chair. Yeah, he made the announcement. What is it, midnight last night, Patty?
With James Stewart?
Yeah. And Steve Cara was there at the announcement.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
They hugged it out.
No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I highlight Barry Dory's comment really fast.
This is going to be so bad.
So,
Michelle Smith says Scott Ockney is running. Who the heck is Scott Ockney?
was that okay? There's somebody.
Okay,
running.
I'll make my announcement now. I'm just kidding. Okay,
so there's literally somebody running with I think his name's Jose Esteban or whatever, and their little slogan is "At least I didn't lose." Oh, Mike Farage is running too. At least I did. At least we have
Cool
a
Mike. Cool Mike. Why not?
Oh my God! Look at all these names. Oh, you guys.
Mike Farage
Michelle,
is gonna...
please tell me you're joking. Please tell me you're joking.
No, he's not. So Mike Farage is going to campaign off of everybody that votes for me gets the calendar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Patty?
No.
He takes
some
pictures
kind of ladies of liberty.
Yeah, he takes pictures of very scantily clad ladies in lingerie for calendars.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, highlight Barry Dory's comment really fast, and I'll tell you why. Barry says targeting seats so critical. Oakland County, there were 4. We had 4 good seats that we could flip that we needed to, and the people I told them to target for the campaigns for the for the candidate recruitment, recruited everybody, recruited not good candidates, because this is the new people, right? So Oakland County candidate recruitment didn't do very good, and there's other reasons for that, and I won't get into them right now because I'm still employed by this current administration, and they're amazing. We love them. So, however, Stand Up Oakland recruited candidates, and they recruited all candidates and primaried everybody when I said there were 4 seats we needed to target. So the same thing Adam said. You tell people what they need to do, and if they don't do it, we lose races. So this time, I think the Oakland County is going to really, really work with everybody, the Republican Party, and we're all going to be on the same page, because we need to be on, we don't have to be on the same train, but we need to be going the same direction. So and that's what we learned this last election with those county commission seats. So that's never going to happen again. And just because the conversation needs to be thrown out there, there's 4 seats, and we'll talk, Barry. I definitely want to keep you in the fold, and Brandon Township is so important up there. And if you feel neglected, I'm sorry. I will come visit you more. I really want to. I'm going to be traveling the county. I have to. I can't be behind a desk. We're going to be stronger in the counties, in the cities.
Yeah. So we've got all these people who are wildly unqualified to be state chair. Then we've got the Blue Bloods, Pete Hoekstra, who's
He's
a
not
complete
official
rhino.
yet, I don't think.
I think he is.
I think he's in.
Yeah.
I think I saw a news story that he was in.
Okay.
But yeah, total rhino. And then he lost for U.S. Senate, right? Didn't he? He ran for U.S. Senate and lost.
He was ambassador somewhere.
He was an ambassador.
He's been out of Congress for years. I remember as a congressman, everybody hated him. He was terrible.
Great.
Yeah, I think he was going to run for governor in 2018. Tom Ricardo says.
Hi, Tom.
Hoekstra isn't a rhino. I will beg to differ, but I'll tell you what, I'll dig in more about this, because if he isn't, I'd feel terrible saying that. But if he's running for state chair, then, well, I have a feeling, Thomas, that a number of his opponents will talk a little bit about his legislative record, but we'll see. And then the other one is Lena Epstein, who I think is a friend of Rana's. I know she ran for Congress and didn't make it. And then I think this year she ran for U of M regent and didn't make it. So still pretty untested.
Thank you, Tom. Highlight Tom's car was at the Faith to Action event. JD announced it at. Okay. So the Faith to Action event, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Tom.
That's where, but that's probably what I was watching last night, or the video of.
You were, but I thought it was just at a random place that JD was at, that Steve was at. But yeah, no, the Faith to Action event makes sense. And
yeah,
oh, good to get everybody to an event just so you can announce at it, but it wasn't his event, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but going back to this comment from Michelle, literally no one qualified who can raise money and direct the party. I agree 100%. If we don't have someone who can unite the factions and raise money, like someone like Tudor Dixon, someone like Rob Steele, who I think neither of them have announced.
Tudor can't raise money.
I think she could.
No, I'm going to I think DePerno and Soldano can raise money. I think yes, they can. I think
DePerno
they
will be absolutely 100% frozen.
Exactly. Garrett can raise money. Thank you, Tom. Tom and I are on point tonight. Tom, Garrett can raise money. And that's the point, is DePerno can be the analytic, whatever DePerno is, the socially awkward man that everybody's like, he just is unapproachable. Yeah, because he has that like weird brain that you're like, love the guy. But exactly, you get the engineering, like constantly getting, and then Garrett, all these women open up their wallets for him. He raised like $2 million off of a grassroots campaign. So that's something that no other candidate can do. And I think Garrett has the capability in that ticket to raise some money.
I think you guys are underestimating how deeply Lansing hates Matt DePerno, and that's not going to change.
I think it might. I think that the fact that he's shaken the delegate craze.
Were they not humbled at all that they lost the House and the Senate? There was no,
Exactly. I think that, and then since DePerno kind of lost the precinct delegate baggage that they were really detest about, maybe.
Yeah, Michelle is right. It takes millions to run the party. Soldano will raise money from the grassroots, but he's not going to raise money from any of the traditional GOP donors for the millions and millions it typically takes.
Who can we pair them up with?
No, you can sit them down though. This is what you don't understand. Like, you can sit down with a donor and plead your case. Have a great budget, have a great direction, and they could believe in you. You don't know, you could sit down and have a great business plan, a great fundraising plan. All you need is that one meeting. You do. I'm doing it right now with people and donors. They just need to believe in you, and they just need a chance. I think DePerno and Soldano is the best chance of those people sitting down and breaking bread with the people that have the money. Not because they're rhinos, but because they know what it takes to.
No, they're going to say, money. Listen, you sued the state house. You think they're going to forget that anytime soon? They're not going to. They're going to say, you know what? You viciously attacked every single person that was supporting Tom Leonard for Attorney General. You were incendiary and vicious. You attacked all of us, and now your people overthrew the party. We don't want to have anything to do with you. That's what they're going to say.
This is true.
Right or wrong, that's what they're going to say.
I'm a little more optimistic on that ticket, but that's just me.
I would say this: if we don't have someone serious, someone like Rob Steele, then I would have zero interest in even participating in the race at all. And I think all these people getting hopped up on this stuff. I mean, I'm telling you guys, because we're going to see people.
It's going to be
screaming
JD
show. Fans, screaming Matt DePerno fans, screaming Christina Caramo fans.
It's going to be crazy.
I'm going to tell you, all these people putting and investing themselves in this are fools.
Thanks, Michelle.
We got to have a joining room.
Because there's no winning. There's no winning here.
Vodka waters.
Oh my gosh. I went to the doctor and I'm dehydrated. So I went out last night. I was like, I'm totally going to have a Patty P. I have water and vodka. We're good. Sorry, side note.
And lemon. So there's a lot of good comments coming in. Yeah.
I think I'm going to bow out now because I probably overstayed anyway.
It's only 9:40.
I know. I haven't been home all weekend. I have to be a mom for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I love you guys. Everybody have a good night. Have fun with the rest of the show.
All right. Good night, Amber.
Excuse me. Bye. Oh boy.
Let me read some more chats real quick.
Amber IV Lounge.
Yeah.
Oh, my face just got really big.
People on Rumble are asking, is Ryan Kelly running? He says no, or someone else in the chat
he
said
pretty
no.
much officially, he put out a statement a few months ago, said he's not going to do it.
Good. Some comments. KLSC85 says, Pete dropped the ball in making public Iraqi documents we captured in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I served in Iraq then. Why? I don't know the answer. He says, I asked Pete about that. He told me that President Bush asked him to stop. I think he should have continued. Who knows? We still could learn about what Saddam was up to. Well, Saddam is dead now, so I don't think that matters all that much. TMB14 says, if Rob Steele were to run, I would support him because I think he knows what he can do. Yeah, I've asked Rob Steele to run. I don't think he will. I think if he would have done it by now. But yeah, this
He's
convention's
still
going to
working
be
full time. What is he, a cardiac surgeon, or what is his?
Yeah, he's a heart surgeon and he's also our national committee man.
Yeah,
those are kind of big commitments.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he has some interest in staying on with the RNC. I don't know. I saw today Harmeet Dillon's running for RNC chair. That would be awesome.
Stop, she is.
Yeah, this just came out today. She's going to run for RNC chair.
Oh, good.
So
I like her.
Yeah, me too. She's awesome. Now, for those who don't know, Harmeet Dillon is the RNC committee woman from California, and she also runs a hugely effective free speech, First Amendment constitutional law firm. They've been involved in lots of really important lawsuits.
I think she still has some open cases this week, I believe, with DC Drano, Rogan O'Handley or whatever. If you guys are familiar with that guy on social media, DC Drano, where they have the proof of like California Secretary of State basically sending a note to Twitter or someone to get rid of him or to ban his account, etc. So that case is still open and going forward. So that's Harmeet. Yep.
Awesome. So that's good news. What else? Yeah, I think we've said all we want to say about the state chair race. I'm just saying stay.
Well, the deadline, in case people are wondering, so that they had an initial deadline on Friday.
Yeah.
But the final deadline is January 6th. So we still have a month. Yeah. So
still have a month of not knowing. Great.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see who John Yob ends up supporting, and we'll see who the DeVos end up supporting. That's another angle that I think people don't really understand about the state chair. Is the big thing about the state chair is they get to give out the contracts to the political consultants they want. And it's always been about John Yob wanting the contracts. And there were a few people in the past. There was Stu Sandler and Solanuzis. They're in different places now, but the DeVosses have totally frozen out John Yob. So they want their person, whoever that is. And mark my words, the race will shake out to be what really is a race between two proxies, one for the DeVosses, one for John Yob. Michelle says, when Lena called me, she mentioned Yob. DePerno had Yob on his last run. Yeah, Yob supported Lena too, though, for Congress. So I don't know who he's going to go with. We shall see. Barry says, with that many candidates, we will be voting all night long at the convention. No, we won't. We will have one ballot, and then there'll be a runoff, and that'll be it. Chris Smith says, they lost because the GOP swamp wouldn't get behind them and support them. The swamp was mad because their candidates like Tom Leonard got beat by the America First candidates. And if you are a delegated, you know the crap the establishment swamp pulled. Well, we talked a lot about that 2 weeks ago, Chris, so you're welcome to check out that podcast. There's a lot of blame to go around. You're certainly right in part, and we did talk about that. The establishment wasted lots of money attacking conservatives in the primaries. No question about that. But there was a lot of other problems as well. It was more than one thing for sure. So yeah, if you want, we had a much more in-depth talk about that a couple weeks ago. Lucas says, how is defeating commies who print the ballots and count the ballots possible? Well, it's a lot less possible, unfortunately, now, Lucas, because we didn't win against Prop 2 this year. Now the Democrats are in charge. It's going to be an uphill battle. I hate to tell you, there's going to be some vote fraud, and you're going to have to overcome all that too. So it's going to involve teaching grassroots leaders how to ballot harvest, for one thing. But I'm sure we'll go over that a lot more in the couple years.
So are we sure Prop 2, I talked about this earlier tonight with some people. Prop 2 officially did legalize ballot harvesting?
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, what else is going on this week, or what else has gone on this week? Oh, so yeah, I mean, the conventions were the big exhausting thing, but this past weekend I got to see Scott Ritter, and that was absolutely fantastic. If you guys haven't seen that, it's on our YouTube channel and our Rumble channel and Facebook pages as well. Although, my gosh, Scott Ritter brought the audience with him because we got like 10,000 views on each of the YouTube videos for Scott
Oh, that's
Ritter's.
awesome. I tuned in a little bit. Yeah.
I got to show you this one comment I pinned. Hold on, let me pull it up here. This warmed my heart when I saw this. This guy, let me pull it up here. His name is familiar. Hold on, I gotta share the screen. This is the video of the event the other night. And this guy, Mark Morawski, the name is familiar.
Oh, he's from Washington. I know Mark. He was at the convention on Thursday.
Okay, yeah. Look at this comment. Best lecture I have seen in years or maybe in my life. Scott knows the facts and has been there and lived it. Not some tin-horned medicant pseudo-intellectual that has never left his ivy tower. Please share this with everyone you know. I agree. These were two amazing presentations, and by the way, they were both completely different. The one in the church, which is the one we've got pulled up here, was like 2.5 hours, mostly about Ukraine. The way he fended off a lot of nasty, hostile questions was top form. Really, really interesting discussion. And then the one he did yesterday at the Ann Arbor Library was a lot more about his own background in arms control, working in the Soviet Union. And just amazing stories all around. And to talk to somebody who is, actually immersed in the real world job of trying to stop hundreds of thousands of people from being killed is humbling. It makes you realize it makes you feel silly for all the stuff that we do. To tell you the truth, that there's people out there that are like watching over the human race and not letting us blow ourselves to smithereens. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, I strongly encourage you to check it out. It was amazing presentations. So yeah, and best of all, I got to have a beer with Scott too. So,
Ballers.
Yep. Oops. Sorry, I meant to remove this, not you.
That's okay.
Yeah, let me switch back to the bigger view there.
Ballot Management 101. Sign up now, avoid the rush. Is that an actual class, or are you just, Ronald, or are you just...
I'm not sure what that is, but I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah, we're going to have to run a whole program in... Right,
I'm just wondering if somebody's already tried to work it out or something.
I mean, in California, they've really learned how to do that because ballot harvesting's been legal in California.
Yeah, and the
Republicans got so good at it, the Democrats are now wanting to ban ballot harvesting in California. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be done, and that's going to be a big...
Well, we need to benchmark them and see what they do, right? We don't need to recreate the wheel.
I mean, the big effort we're going to have in the next 2 years, I think, is building out precinct organizations in every precinct. I mean, we should have 10 people in every precinct running the entire campaign operation. Not 100 some people in a county. We need people in every single precinct.
Yep.
Knocking on doors, getting those ballots turned in. So, yeah. I guess the other big story this week was Twitter. Twitter has
the Twitter files.
The Twitter files. Yep. Elon is releasing the Twitter files, and they're already looking horrible in terms of collusion between the government and Twitter to steal the 2020 election, which has naturally prompted Trump to call for the suspension of the Constitution, I guess, to reinstate him for president, which I don't think is going to happen. It's probably not a politically prudent thing to say.
No, then of course they're all jumping on that now because they're trying to avoid what's been revealed, right? So they're just the things that are being said. It's hilarious how they're deflecting. Yeah.
Chris Smith, and then this is exactly the attitude we've been talking about. So are you snubbing your nose at the people of Michigan? These candidates were chosen by the people of Michigan. So can I consider your organization is for the establishment swamp? Well, no, Chris, and I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. Which candidates were chosen by the people of Michigan?
Chris had the comment earlier.
Oh, they lost because of the GOP swamp. Oh, you mean DePerno and Karem and all the rest? Well, they were chosen not so much by the people of Michigan as by the state delegates at the convention in April. Is how they were chosen. And the people in and the people in the governor race chose Tudor Dixon after 5 candidates got disqualified from the ballot. And by the way, in case anyone has forgotten, The second place candidate for the nomination for governor was Kevin Rinke, who was less conservative than Tudor. Not more conservative, less conservative. So no, Chris, I'm not snubbing my nose at the people of Michigan. They chose their candidates for Attorney General and Secretary of State, probably not realizing how much baggage at least one of them had. And look, I supported Christina Caramo. I voted for Christina Caramo, Chris. I thought she was going to be a lot better than she actually turned out to be. She never pivoted. And that's something that I thought she had people around her that knew, now that we've won the nomination, now it's time to do what it takes to win. And they didn't do that. So, but as I said too, there's a lot of things that went wrong in that whole cycle. So no, I'm not snubbing my nose at the people of Michigan, Chris. I'm trying to explain that there's more than one reason why we didn't do well in November. Leanne Oman says, I thought Ritter left his government position in disgrace a couple of years ago. Can't remember the details. Well, then, Leanne, you should go to ScottRitterExtra.com and read his article, Cancel Culture, where he explains in lurid detail how he was framed by the government, how he was falsely convicted, how he's an appeal that's still going on, and how he had to defend his reputation in prison. He had to convince the prisoners to their satisfaction that he was completely innocent of the charges that he was framed for being a whistleblower. So no, he was canceled by the deep state. And unlike very many people who have been subject to the most brutal repression by the government imaginable, Scott refused to let the government destroy him. And I respect him all the more for it. So if you want to go to Scott Ritter Extra and find that article, you're welcome to learn more about that. Randy Guppy says, if they did it in 2020, they did it in 2022. Yeah, well, again, they did something. They stole some votes. Was it enough to make the difference? Possibly. But in 2022, look, it didn't just happen in Detroit, folks. We did badly in all 83 counties this year. It's not, vote fraud is not the sole explanation for everything. There's a lot of problems that went on there. On Rumble, Thurston3, I think, says Tudor Dixon has a national presence and should be able to raise money if he's interested in being chairman. Or if then he's interest in Tom Barrett, has history as a state rep or state senator. I hope Tom Barrett runs for Congress again in 2 years, though. So, yeah. Okay, I don't see too much else. I don't know what else to talk about. We can talk about Twitter, but there's not much to talk about. Kanye got booted from Twitter, though. So much for that free speech stuff, right, Elon?
Oh, well, I think he was going a little.
Yeah, but that's what free speech is. It's
I know.
The right of people
we know that.
On.
We know that, but.
But no, that's exactly it. Because if the only distinction is he'll censor people with a lighter touch than the old Twitter was, it's not fundamentally any different. And that's really all it is. I think it's praiseworthy that he's releasing all of this information about how Twitter meddled in the 2020 election, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But you can't call yourself a free speech absolutist if you're saying that we can't allow Kanye on because he's posting obscene political statements. Free speech is not for popular speech, it's for unpopular speech. And at the end of the day, Kanye committed no speech crime. He didn't do anything that was something like, he didn't commit any defamation. That would be something you could probably, censor on those grounds, but he didn't do that. And that's a problem, because if you say, well, what Kanye posted was objectively obscene, well, the radical left would say everything that we say is objectively obscene. They would say we should be banned from YouTube for talking about questioning the election.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? You really shouldn't.
No, you really shouldn't. I know.
So, you could, but you couldn't call yourself.
I'm not saying I agree with them, but I'm just saying, it's just par for the course, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You said you want to talk about the lame duck. What did they do? What did they pass?
Well, so they passed a big corporate welfare subsidy deal. It was a big tax break for some developers, just to remind you how worthless they always were. And to say, you know what? There's a part of me that's glad Republicans lost, because they didn't deserve it. Really didn't. Imagine the last thing they do before they leave. Yeah. I believe.
FYI, so people who just joined the stream late, anyway, we're talking about our state legislature passed something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, by the way, I've heard the one in the federal Congress has been kind of quiet, but there's some deal they're working on now. Going to be a big fat Ukraine package, probably. lots of spending, lots of taxes. But from what we've heard, they're not going to manage to pull off the assault weapons ban. In Lansing, however, someone just put in a bill literally the other day to ban all assault weapons and require everybody that has one, including, of course, probably me and most of our viewers, register them with the government every 5 years. And there's no way they can pass that in lame duck, but it's a foreshadowing. It's what they're going to start off with as soon as the new year hits. So we're going to have to hit the ground running in the beginning of the new term. And I know Great Lakes Gun Rights and other groups are already firing people up about that. So that's going to be a huge thing. But, someone made a great point to me. What they should be doing right now is passing bills like House Bill 5097, which was a bill to ban critical racist theory. And when it passed the House, the Democrats wouldn't vote no on it because they didn't want to be on record. Well, the Senate could put the senators on record. They could even put the governor on record if they pass that bill on Tuesday. Make her veto it if she will, or I'll sign it into law. This is their last chance to do anything effective while they're in power. And instead, what are they doing? I mean, just imagine 3 years, our state's been on fire from COVID, from the lockdowns, and from all this other bullshit. And in their last month in office, what do? Another corporate welfare subsidy deal. The amount of damage that's been done in our state was not enough to get them to drop the corporate welfare crap for 1 minute and actually work for the people. It's unbelievable. It's pathetic. Terrible. It's disgraceful. And at least there'll be some solace knowing that these knuckleheads that are going to be in office for another term or 2 or 3 terms, now they pass their term limit extensions, can get to feel what it's like to be in the minority. Get to experience every day the misery that they're going to have to suffer because of their own selfishness in the last term. Jay says, right to work was the only transformative legislation passed by the Michigan GOP majority I could remember. What else have they done while they've had power? Basically nothing. And right to work they'll probably do away with on day one. Democrats don't waste time. So there you go. On that note, guys, why don't we call it a stream? It's been an hour. I'm exhausted. It's been a very, very busy week. I think we're all ready for a break. And as long as nobody interesting enters the state house, the state chair race, we don't have to worry about that one. So we get to relax and enjoy the holiday season. No, I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of stuff we're gonna be talking about this week. Planning and preparation for when the Democrats take office. We have to hit the ground running with that.
Are you going to keep up Operation Watchdog or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have to. That's going to come back in a big way. There's going to be a lot of petitioning, a lot of mobilizing people in really all of these districts to resist what the Democrats are going to want to do, because they won't be able to do it if they feel that there's going to be a lot of pain back at home for all the most extreme things that they want to do. So, yeah, we'll be talking a lot about that in the weeks to come. But now that the county conventions are behind us, that is a big relief. Some of us spent.
We still have a week of them, but
yeah.
When's the last one?
Yours probably, but just because you guys don't really have one in Wayne County, right?
Well, ours is everyone's gonna have another convention on that night anyway, right?
Right, January
26th. Yeah. So we just
happened
that for us it's dual purpose, right? So we elect our Wayne 6th committee, and then we also vote for state delegates to state convention.
Yeah. KLSC 85 says in Dem districts we need billboards with, will the last person leaving Michigan please turn out the lights? Yeah. And Charlotte Cosmic says, is there a way to stop them from passing Ukraine deal and red flag laws? Well, the Ukraine deal is in U.S. Congress, and other than contacting your congressman and asking him not to, there's not much more we can do. That takes a national effort. We're not that big, unfortunately. As for red flag legislation, yeah, that's going to be a big fight that we're going to have to start taking on immediately. And the way to stop it is to mobilize lots of angry voters. That's what it will take. So we'll talk a lot more about that next time. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, thanks for all you guys do for liberty. Until then.